How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the FireStorm podcast. This
Wow!
is episode 70. Wow!
Holy
How did we do it?
Shit!
How have we done
By
this?
talking into microphones.
Oh my god! Usually,
Jesus
every 10 episodes, we've had a little bit of a theme going on where we just do a random as F episode, but we've kind of bunked the trend a little bit. We decided not to worry about doing that sort of thing anymore. We're just gonna make these when we feel like it. And the only thing that we were kind of insistent on doing lately was that episode 69 was going to be all about the lore of DJ Gold. That's kind of the
yes, sir.
The only prerequisite we had going forward. And from now on, it's just kind of however we feel. We'll randomly do video episodes like with our faces. We'll randomly just do album reviews and whatever comes to mind when we feel like it. And that's the case for this week. We are going to be talking about RWBY. We have been doing Volume 9 episode reactions over on my channel, Trent JM, and it has been a very interesting experience. It has basically reinvigorated my channel somewhat. Thank you very much for that. And we've met many sides of the RWBY fandom because of it, thanks to the comments.
I'd like to take a moment to thank every single person who said I was obnoxious.
It was mostly the one person.
Yeah, it was just that one person.
There was one person that commented that we're obnoxious at one of the previous episodes, and then the final one, they said, actually, no, just one of you is. The other one I enjoyed the reaction of. And look,
it was definitely me. That was obnoxious.
Look, I'm not going to say probably, but probably. Like, I was doing a head flip, like, how would I have been obnoxious? And I'm just trying to, I don't know, it doesn't matter, who honestly cares.
Nah. I had fun being obnoxious, so suck one.
We do want to thank everyone for the overwhelmingly, mostly positive reception to the episode 9 reactions, and thank you all for subscribing. But we're here to talk about our thoughts about Volume 9, our cumulative thoughts, and talk about RWBY as a whole, because I've been a fan for quite some time now. And you're still you're a fairly recent fan, because I was the one that kind of pushed you to watch it. Well, isn't that right?
It was always on my, I don't know how long it was on my to watch list, but it was one of those that was a little bit more intimidating because it's got so many, or at least when I started it, I think it already had 8 volumes out. Because I think I started around this time 2 years ago is when I started RWBY. And I caught up about a year later. So, probably around the time we started watching Volume 9, like, that time in 2022 is when I caught up to Volume 8. So, it was on my list to watch because I thought it looked interesting, but I didn't really know what it was about. And then when you mentioned that you were a big fan, I was like, you know what? I might as well. What else am I doing? So, I just, I took the plunge and I enjoyed myself. I think it would it definitely does seem like there's a very big dramatic shift in like tone and just how the series is presented from like Volume 4 onwards compared to Volumes 1 through 3, which is a bit jarring, but
100%.
That said, I think they made it okay. Like, the transition wasn't horrible. So I think it was acceptable. So it was like I got on board with it, and like even a lot of the parts that we talked about it like while I was catching up, but some of the parts that a lot of the fandom thought were boring, I actually like enjoyed because I just overall when it comes to manga or anime or whatever, I'm a big fan of like character driven stories. And RWBY is absolutely one of those. So I just like seeing the characters that like I'm attached to do things. Like, I don't really care what they do. I just like seeing them. So
Yeah.
I got attached to the main crew of RWBY pretty quickly. So it was just like, I just enjoy watching them just do things. And like even like some of the parts, like was it volume 4 or 5 or whatever, when they were all separated, like that moment when they all reunited is just very satisfying, because all been off doing their own things, but now they're also back as a team and fighting together. And it's very cute. I just really like RWBY. I think it's fun and adorable. So plus the fighting is awesome.
Yeah, no, that's
it really
that's the
is.
plus. Like that was the main thing that got people intrigued. It was mostly because like I've watched a lot of different videos and I've read a lot of different things about regarding RWBY over the past few years. I've been a fan since 2015, and I want to preface this and say, like, if you don't already know from like watching the reactions, we're kind of set in our ways of how we feel about things. Like we are the way we are, and I know a lot of people don't like the way we react to things, how we talk about things, how we joke about things. And I know a lot of the RWBY fandom is young, and a lot of the RWBY fandom are very, very sensitive. So I'm just going to preface this now. Deal with it, guys. We're going to talk about what we talk about, and if you don't like it, get out. Because we had plenty of comments of just like, it was literally the one that stands out to me is when there was the fight in Volume 9 where the Jabberwockers were coming and RWBY was hesitant, didn't join the fight because she only just got her weapon back and was just looking down at it and was hesitant. And you say straight away, "Come on, RWBY, get in there, do something." And then it zooms in on her and we realize, oh, she's panicking. And there was one comment that said, "Oh yeah, tell the depressed girl to do something." Come on, guys. Come on. You know we're joking. You know we're not serious. Yeah. You're implying that we don't care about depressed people. You're implying a lot of things with that comment. Get over yourself, okay? Please, we understand.
You are not the protagonist of the world.
There is no way in hell I would tell someone in that situation to do something like that. It's a cartoon, and we were joking and doing active commentary for the show that we were watching, because that's what a reaction video is. So if you don't like the way we go about talking about things, shove it up your ass, because I'm sick to death of the comments. Now, out of the way. That's it, because the RWBY
now
fandom...
Now that your foot is in your asshole...
You go.
Listen up.
Listen up, homies. Look, I've had to conflict with myself a lot about how I want to approach the RWBY fandom, because the fandom is very, very back and forth with themselves. Parts of it are very, very toxic, and parts of it are they bully people, and I'm not going to deal with it, because I had to deal with some of the comments, and I'm not going to put up with it. I'm done with that. I'll get into it more a little bit later when talking about other things, but for now, let's get back to more wholesome talk. My introduction to RWBY, well, this is, I preface it saying it's wholesome, but it's kind of not at the same time. I got into RWBY around 2015, I recall. It was literally as Volume 3 had been announced and things were getting into it, and I remember watching clips and then watching Volumes 1 and 2 and thinking, wow, this is really cool, the fights are cool, the story's a bit all over the place, but I don't care, the fights are cool, and I was in the hype of writing and really finding where I wanted, finding myself, essentially. I was heavily into writing. I was traveling across the fucking world for the first time, and I had really started to discover who I really was. And RWBY was just kind of there. It plopped itself there, and I'm like, oh, this is sick. And I tried getting a few friends into it. I remember my friend Aaron. I tried to convince him to watch it. He was initially hesitant. I think we ended up watching all of RWBY when Volume 5 came out at my place. I remember we were playing, I think it was Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon on our DSs or something, and then we were just watching it, something like that. Nice. But I remember in 2015, when I got into it, literally, I mentioned Aaron, oh yeah, Volume 3 for the show's coming up. It's going to be sick. And then the creator, Monty passed away. Literally, just as I was getting into the show, just as I was telling Aaron to get into the show, the creator passed away. And we didn't know if the show was going to continue past Volume 3. Right. So it was all kind of like, well, what's the point? We were kind of like, oh shit, that's, well, that's unfortunate. And then, as we all know, and then as we all know, the show transferred to the Maya engine. I think it's the Maya engine, and then continued on with other writers. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll keep watching it. And then I did. And I remember just watching every volume as it premiered on Rooster Teeth. I literally only bought the Rooster Teeth first membership for RWBY, and then I would cancel it as soon as the RWBY ended.
Nice.
Because then it would come out a week later on Crunchyroll anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. I watched it, and I've just been a fan ever since because it scratches that itch of a good mixture of fighting and storytelling, and it's not overly complicated like some anime lore can be. And I know it's contentious to call it anime, but I just call it anime. It is what it is. And it's like that perfect mixture of like everything I enjoy about shows and about like a fantasy setting. Like, despite its flaws in its storytelling, it was just something that I could easily sit down and watch and enjoy. And it had its emotional beats that really kicked you in the teeth. And I like that. You gotta have those in a show. And yeah, I've just been a fan ever since. And I wish... I simultaneously wish it was bigger, yet also smaller. Because I don't want to make the entire podcast me bashing the fandom, but there's just that many different things and that many aspects to RWBY and Rooster Teeth as a whole, which is a shame because you don't really hear that about a lot of other shows, because this is the 3D Western show made by an initially small company that just got bought out. It's not been produced by a big anime studio in Japan and that keeps all their trade secrets bloody hidden, and like just all that they're very like on the train, continuously pumping out stuff. This is a wholly unique situation, and we know a lot more about the ins and outs of Rooster Teeth and RWBY than you would any other show. So many people in the fandom decide to give their 2 cents on the issues that arise, and it just creates a whole lot of toxicity, which is unfortunate. I don't know, how privy are you to some of the RWBY drama other than my comment section?
Yeah, not really at all. Like I've pretty much the only time I actually see the RWBY drama, I mean, I really didn't until, like, I guess, was it earlier this year when there was some problems and you made those videos about Rooster Teeth? Was that earlier this year, or was it last year?
Yeah. That was like late last year, early this year, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like the first time I actually heard about like Rooster Teeth drama. But because I was never really like, I didn't really follow the company or anything or anybody involved. I don't even know if I even follow any of the voice actors. But yeah, it's just like I now that I know, like, and I think you mentioned in some of those videos you made that like they have a pretty shady history or a tethered a track record. It's a bit of a shame because like I do like what they're making, so.
Yeah, it's well that was more so the case of Rooster Teeth being a dodgy company. Well, I say dodgy in business practice. They weren't dodgy, but in treating employees harshly, they were. So they that's just one of the many layers of issues that the show and Rooster Teeth as a whole has seen. Like, from what I can tell, the show's always been contentious, what with people just not liking the look of RWBY, and it's just it being what it is, a 3D show marketed as an anime that a lot of people don't understand and thought was only there for the fights, like, because of Monty Oom's spectacular fighting animations. And then after Volume 3, many people, and because Monty passed away and it went to a new engine and it looks different, a lot of people just kind of fell off and stopped caring, which is fair enough. But then, just so many little things pop up from that. Like, I guess it all started back in maybe 2016 for the Shane Newville letter. Shane Newville was an animator who helped choreograph fight scenes as well. I don't know if you remember in Volume 3, there was a sparring battle between Pyrrha and Mercury, where Mercury was kind of sussing out how Pyrrha's abilities work. That
does ring a bell, yes.
Yeah, that was nearly solely done by Shane, and even in Volume 3 commentary, they even say this was all Shane, this was his work, and they're gushing over how cool the fight looks. He basically released a letter after the fact saying hey, Rooster Teeth has done a lot of shady shit to basically push Monty's family out of Rooster Teeth, because Monty had his wife beside him most of the time, and they did a lot to push her out. Basically, a lot of people say he disgraced, Shane saying Rooster Teeth disgraced Monty's legacy and has just taken his ideas and his IP and is running with it, and that a lot of people said that's in contention. We don't know if Shane's telling the truth, but it was just the thing that kind of started about. I think that's kind of the origin of where people say, what they're doing now is disgracing Monty's legacy, because they all think the story as it is now and everything that's happening now is not the way Monty wanted it, which we wouldn't know, because a lot of people believe that RWBY and the story and everything has been planned out from the very beginning, which is just capably it can't be true, even though Rooster Teeth are literally putting out roundtable discussions with the head producers of RWBY and Barbara and Miles and everyone on their Rooster Teeth animation channel. They've been dropping those after each episode, and they even say, Bumblebee, we've been keeping this a secret since Volume 1. And it's as much as I love Bumblebee and as much as I love the ship, I physically do not believe that ship and the idea of them of RWBY and of Yang and Blake becoming a couple was one of the main things they were going to go towards since Volume 1. Literally impossible, because as any writer, as any showrunner can tell you, yeah, sure, they can have big plot points and big ideas and big dot points for how a series would progress, but it is impossible to know when those things are going to come in, especially for a show like RWBY, where it's episodic shows when you don't know if the next volume is going to be greenlit or not. You can't really think that far. You can't think that far ahead. You can have a beginning, middle, and end, but all the mini points kind of have to flesh themselves out. And I don't sure, I believe there was an idea for maybe an idea thrown out there. Oh yeah, maybe these two would be good together. We'll see how that goes. And then they decided later on, okay, yeah, we'll make this canon. But there's so many things of we planned for Team RWBY to have the sole focus in Volume 9. They even said that. And I'm okay, whether that spawned into the idea of the Ever After, who knows? But like, if you've been saying, "Oh yeah, we had things written, and we wanted Volume 8 to be the fall of Atlas, Volume 9 to be focused on Team RWBY," like the fact that you had 8 volumes preceding that, and then you wanted 1 volume solely focused on Team RWBY, that's a bit flawed. Like, surely that's a flawed idea. Like, your titular team only gets the main focus in the 9th volume. See, that doesn't make sense. That's why when they say things like that, it doesn't make sense. And people can believe them wholeheartedly 100%, but I know people, like, you can't take all that for face value. Like, because 2 reasons why. 2 of the most beloved characters in the show, I don't quote me on this, I believe from what I've read and what I understand, 2 of the most beloved characters in the show were thrown in last minute because Monty had a cool idea. Those 2 characters being Penny and Neo. They were quite literally last minute additions. Penny, I believe because Monty just literally planned out a fight scene at the end of Volume 1 with a cool chick that is a robot. So then they had to kind of rush and add in the introduction of Penny before they got to the fight. And Neo, because Monty quite literally saw a gender-bent Roman Torchwick cosplay and thought, that's pretty cool, maybe Roman should have a sidekick. And then that's how Neo came to be. So, you know that things weren't planned that far in advance because Monty would throw shit in at the last, very last second, just because he thought it was a cool idea. So, that's how you kind of, maybe from volumes 4 and 5 onwards when they developed the idea of the brothers and how Ozpin and Salem are actually connected and, they can finally explore that. Maybe from there, they had things planned out, which I am more inclined to believe. But from the very start, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
so,
definitely not.
Yeah, that's just kind of my little ramble on that thing, but I know that, the fandom itself is just, it can be a toxic cesspool of, there are many fans like me that nowadays just sit back and enjoy what we're given, because I am really of the mindset of, yeah, look, fan fiction is great. I understand people wishing things played out differently, but, there are some serious, people that have the most fucked headcanons of, in RWBY. Like, people who see one interaction between Ruby and Oscar and think, oh, those 2 are going to be in love, the Rose Garden, yeah, those 2 are the next couple. Well, that's kind of what happened with Bumblebee. People saw Yang and Blake, thought they were cute, and oh, yes, those 2 should definitely be a couple. Oh, Ruby and Weiss should be a couple. And then, headcanons, ships. I understand. Again, all this shit I understand to an extent, but then it gets to a point where it's if people get really upset at the things they've been wanting to happen for years not happening, go write your own story where that thing happens. Go create your own original story where, hey, this sort of thing happens that leads to these 2 getting together. Maybe they don't even have to be the RWBY characters. You could just write characters. Write your own characters that are similar. Make your own story where the things you want to happen in them, and then see what happens. Don't get angry at Rooster Teeth and RWBY for not making some random off-screen character from the 2nd volume and some random bitch from volume 7 we never meet be a couple. Make your own goddamn story instead.
That's why we have fanfiction.net, brother.
Even if
put that shit
even
on
if it's not a fanfiction, my first story, that I've admitted to this before, my first story I ever wrote, The Vampire's Return, was essentially a Skyrim fanfiction that I made original because I changed so many aspects. It became its own original story. It later just became inspired by Skyrim. You can do that. You can write your own shit, guys. I've seen people write fanfiction.
Use your anger. Use the anger you have at Rooster Teeth and direct it at your fucking Word document. Like, make that shit happen.
Make that shit happen, precisely. Just...
But on your own time. Like, you're in your... Like, Rooster Teeth is not responsible for your delusion. You know, like, you deluded yourself into, like, thinking XX thing would happen. When, like, there were no real concrete signs that was ever going to be the case. So if that doesn't happen in the canon, then just make your own headcanon. That's why you have your imagination. Just do something with it. Don't get angry.
People making... So that's the thing. People making their own headcanon and then kind of pushing that narrative as like, this is totally going to happen.
It on anyone
that's
else.
What kind of fucks me over. Like, I'm at the point with... Like, I don't want... Like, literally, I'm in the same point as you. I just want to see the characters doing things. I don't care what the things are, because here's the big newsflash takeaway from this. I am not writing the story. It's not my story to tell.
Yep.
That is the thing. It's not your story to tell. It's Miles and Luna's story to tell, or whoever's storyboarding it now. Whoever's in charge. I haven't checked the Wikipedia. I don't know. But whoever's in charge, it's their story to tell. So let them tell the story. If you're not happy with it, go write your own goddamn story. It's not that... I mean, it is difficult. Yeah, I admit, it's difficult. But fuck, it's more creatively... Like, it's more productive than getting angry at a bunch of people and yelling at them for not letting your thing happen.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Like, spoilers for Volume 9 if you didn't already know that's happening. But, like, yeah, I wish I could see more of, like, Neo and Penny and Pyrrha, but they're all gone now, and I have to deal with that, and that's okay, because that's how they were written.
It's not the end of the world.
It's a story progression. It's just the way things happen. So that's what's happened, and I have to... I'm upset that I won't get to see these characters again for a while, like they might make a cameo, and that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. I'm upset, sure, but that's okay. It's the whole point.
It's just like you're saying, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Meanwhile, you're furiously typing away on your keyboard as you write a fan fiction about Neo coming back.
Turns out she gets reborn immediately, has all her memories, and is super badass. Yeah, I'm fucking... Yeah, I'm gonna write it.
It's okay. It's not my story to tell.
It's not my story to tell.
Furiously typing
furiously
away.
writes fanfiction. Precisely.
Hey, well, I've admitted to this too. When I was a teenager, I wrote my own damn Pokemon fanfiction. That shit, like, dude.
Oh, bro, I can't get enough of the Ash Betrayed fix. Oh, so good.
Yo, fire! The Ash Betrayed fanfictions are fire. They're so fucking
As in they should be thrown into a fire. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. They're so fucking stupid. Yeah. If you don't know what Ash Betrayed fics are, just watch our... we released that fanfiction episode, right? We released that actually...
It's a bit... it's a bit old, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Go watch our fanfiction episode of this podcast. It's a fucking banger. I think we read at least one Ash Betrayed fanfic.
No, you definitely read one. I definitely remember that happening.
Yeah. So, or even better, just look one up for yourself. Wattpad or fanfiction.net. I swear to God, you'll find some fucking gold. So, but yeah, like, I wrote Pokemon fanfiction when I was a teenager because, like, I wanted to see XX thing happen. Like, that wasn't happening while I was watching Pokemon. So it was like, that you should do that for RWBY, you know? Like, if you're not satisfied, you can, like, make a spin-off headcanon fanfiction. It might be stupid, and you might cringe at it in, like, 7 years or whatever, but, like, at least you'll be, like, stimulating the creative side of your brain, and, like, you know, maybe you'll want to become a writer later on, and that'll give you some good practice. Like, fanfiction is legitimately great practice, because I, like,
this is the thing. I just want to differentiate. I want to differentiate between, yes, being creatively satisfied and writing a fanfiction versus coming up with an idea in your head of something you want to happen and getting angry when that doesn't happen. That's what I'm trying to split here. Yes, write fanfiction about an idea you have, 100%, but don't get angry at the makers and the writers when that thing doesn't happen. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and
don't
force your idea on anyone else. Like, don't try to force it. Just let the people who may or may not share your idea come to you. Like, you'll find them. That's what fanfiction is for. You know? Like, they will come to you, because they'll be searching out that kind of thing. So, like, you shouldn't force, like, you shouldn't be like, oh, if this doesn't happen, I'm watching, like, in someone's, like, Twitter reply thread. You shouldn't just be like, oh, if Oscar and RWBY don't become a couple, I will never watch RWBY again. Like, just shut up. Nobody asked.
Yeah, no. Nobody asked, essentially. That's right. But then again, like, we're saying this, and look, RWBY is already one of the biggest fucking things written on fanfiction.net. Like, I'll go, the top list is Naruto, Inuyasha, Hetalia, Bleach, Fairy Tail, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, Full Metal, Digimon, Sailor Moon, One Piece, Gundam, Death Note, something else, Hitman Reborn, and then RWBY. RWBY has 33,000 fanfiction, like, things on it. So, like, people are already doing that, which is awesome. Like, good on them. Like, this is what I mean, is fine. I don't care, because, like, that's your own world, and that's your own little creative side that you're letting out.
Yeah.
I just
and
so
other
often...
people aren't forced to, like, to involve themselves with it. They're only, like, they would only involve themselves with your creative work by their own choice. Like, we don't have to, you're not, like, forcing that on other people if you're writing fan fiction. You're just putting that out there. You have an idea, you write about it, you put it out there for other people who are interested. Like, if people aren't interested, then you're not forcing them to go and be a part of it. Like, that's fine. That's acceptable. That's why fan fiction is there. You know?
Yeah, like, again, like, I've beaten this point over the head. It's just, that's just something I so often see a fandom that is so in love and obsessed with the show, and like it's good to like what you like, but I so often see people make like a character or RWBY as a whole like their entire personality, and it's like, I don't think that's healthy. Like if you're young, like, I get it, I guess, but like so often, like, you see people like just with RWBY profile pictures talking shit like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. RWBY is not homophobic. Like, people making the RWBY homophobe jokes, like, RWBY is a homophobe jokes, like, and then, well, I'm trying to remember, like, what did you say in one of the very
I was
first
like making
ones?
I was making fun of Yang because she's like the airheaded brute force type, and I was just like making fun of her for like, maybe she said a big word, and I was like, wow, you know that word, Yang? Or like I said something, and she's like, she's like
stupid. How dare you?
Yeah, like, or like I said, or like she was, or I think I might have said something like, Yang's too stupid to follow a plan, or something like that. Like, or she would just like implying that she would rather just charge ahead and just fight, you know? Like, she wouldn't want to follow some weird plan. But like, that's my, like, when I say someone is too stupid, I always mean it affectionately, without fail. Like, especially when I call someone like a fictional character too stupid to do something, it's always in an affectionate way, because I fucking love stupid characters. Like, they're my favorite. Like, straight up, my favorite characters are the stupid ones. Like, it's just because they're so fun and unpredictable. So like, Yang is genuinely one of my favorites out of the main out of Team RWBY. Like, she's straightforward, she's blunt. I love her. She's great. So like, it's always, even if I make fun of her for saying she's stupid, like, I get that she's not actually stupid. She's just the most straightforward out of like, and like blunt out of the main four, and like, it's just me being affectionate. I love stupid characters.
But people taking that seriously is like, come on, guys, that's not like, he wasn't serious, guys. Like, and like, maybe that's just the kids failing to understand a joke and them getting upset about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a kid, if it was a full-grown adult, I don't know what to say. Like, that's just your fault.
Yeah,
like,
you might be you might be SOL, brother.
just take.
Good luck with the rest of your life.
Take a joke. But yeah. Look, I think I've said enough about it. Like, look, RWBY and Rooster Teeth as a whole. Again, a lot of controversy. Like that, I understand people not liking the show. That's fine. I'm not here to say you should like the show. I'm not here to say you should enjoy every aspect of it. Yeah. But like so many people, like just make things. I just want to enjoy the show as it's presented to me without people trying to impart their fucking wisdom of saying, like, this is what should happen, this is what should happen. Like, yeah, look, come up with ideas, come up with theories, but don't get upset when it doesn't happen, because it's not your story to tell. Like, that's just the main fucking focal point. It's not your story to tell. So, fucking deal with it, son.
Yeah,
because if I were to publish my book tomorrow and get nothing but criticism saying, "Hey, you should have made this character do this. You should have made this character do this," like, I'm gonna say, maybe there's some good ideas in there. Constructive criticism, one thing. But telling me, "Hey, your character shouldn't have done that. They should have done this." How about you fuck off? All right, it's not your story to tell. It's mine. So fuck you. Like, that's how I would feel. But yeah.
Yeah. And I'm totally a firm believer in everybody likes what they like, right? Like, I only, like, really the only time, like, I watch a unhealthy amount of anime and read an unhealthy amount of manga. Well, reading is at least better for me. But, like, because at least I'm stimulating my brain. But, like, point is, there are a lot of things that I enjoy when it comes to anime. And I don't really like to force that onto other people unless they're actively asking me for a recommendation, right? Because, like, there are a lot of things that I enjoy, but, like, I would never force what I like onto other people, you know? Like, it's just, it goes with that point that you mentioned, like, you know, we're not going to try to force people to like every single aspect of RWBY, or even, like, come to watch it in the first place. You know, you like what you like. You know, that's the true for everybody, and everybody's tastes are their own individual set of things. Like, not everyone's gonna like every single, like, the same set of things, and there's so much different media out there for people to consume. So, like, not everyone's gonna like all of the same stuff, and that's totally cool. Like, that's great. Like, everyone should have different tastes in what they like. But, like, with that, you gotta just, like, adopt that mindset, you know? Like, you can't go around fucking forcing your ideas onto other people and being like, this is absolutely what should be happening in the next volume or whatever. And, like, it's just silly, you know? Like,
or, like,
don't try
screaming
to, like,
that RWBY got worse after Monty left. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's
who
not...
cares?
That's, like,
you shouldn't criticize people for liking things that you don't, and you shouldn't criticize people for not liking things that you like. You know, like, it just happens. That's how it goes. Like, not everyone's gonna like the same shit. Get over it.
Yeah.
Like, and RWBY is a fairly controversial thing because, like, I think we mentioned in some of the reactions, like, the writing team wasn't very experienced when they started out, and they transitioned to basically what was an entirely new story from Volume 4 onwards. So they had a really tricky transition to work with, and they didn't really have a lot of prior experience, or at least, like, at least professional writing experience. So, like, it was tricky, and, like, they had to come up with this big story on the fly, and, like, resolve all of these different things that had been started already, and, like, it's tricky. So, like, I totally get why a lot of people just can't get into RWBY. It's fine. But, like, that doesn't mean you, as, like, a fan, should go around shouting at people that don't like it that, you know, they're stupid and their opinions aren't valid. Like, whatever. You're just dumb.
There's a lot of toxic parts of the community, and I know that's why a lot of other people in the fandom have either had to kind of, like, solely change their outlook to fit a narrative that people would much rather prefer, and like they're not wholly honest with their feelings about it anymore, or if people have been wholly honest with their feelings, they get criticized and lambasted by parts of the community that say you should love everything or you're not a real fan. Like, there's a lot of that out there as well. And there's one in particular that I kind of get those. I think I don't know if I've mentioned them by name before. I might have to you. If I have mentioned them by name before, I probably shouldn't have, but I'm going to avoid doing it here. There's this one creator that has been very vocal about how they are not a fan of RWBY much anymore, and they can't deal with the fandom. The fandom's really toxic, and they are just sick. But they make content, but they don't enjoy the watching RWBY anymore, which is entirely fair. Then there was something about, then you would notice they would make content about things that weren't RWBY, and they weren't getting as many views, which I'm already starting to see. With I'm uploading videos on my vlog to Japan, which I thought would pop off, but it's not. Which is like, you know what? Fair enough. That's not what people are expecting right now. But yeah. Anyway, so this content creator made a few videos not RWBY related. Then they made one that was just kind of like, oh yeah, what if this character's one thing, like a little aspect of this character, got a lot of views. Fair enough. And then they make a video about like literally one frame of an image, and like breaking down why it doesn't look, why it's not the way people think it looks, and it looks weird. And it was very fucking strange. I remember watching it thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then them going off on Twitter because one of the animators joked about, yo, Yang and Blake are a couple now. This should help Greenlight Volume 10. Like, they were joking, saying, like, keep watching. We need to see how this plays out. Now that they're together, we should Greenlight Volume 10. And, like, the content creator fucking went off, saying, like, see, they purely made Yang and Blake a couple just for the lesbian fans. Like, just for the gay fans. So, literally, it's just fan service at this point. And they were just popping off, getting really upset. And a lot of people were rightly replying to them, saying, hey, like, don't you think you're misinterpreting the tweet? It's a joke. Can't you tell? And they're like, oh, well, even if it was a joke, it was in poor taste. Like, hey, dude, I thought you didn't care about what the RWBY community thought anymore. Why are you getting so fucking...
Yeah.
Like, why are you popping off so hard about this? And then they've recently just announced, even though they didn't want to watch Volume 9, they said adamantly they didn't want to watch Volume 9. Now they're doing, like, I think, multiple live streams of them watching the whole thing through, like, just throughout. Which, okay, look, it's okay to change your mind about things. It's okay to progress and, like, think later, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I'll tune in. But, like, I haven't watched them properly in a little bit because of all this shit, so maybe that's just the case, but you understand how it looks a little bit hypocritical. Like,
right.
You're quite literally saying, like, hey, like, this is all shit, I'm not going to do this anymore. Your views drop. Hey, fuck all of you, I'm going to make content just to spite you all so I get the views. Like, it's very strange. It's very, very strange. Like, again, it's just another part of the RWBY fandom I'm just kind of, like, I'm done with at this point, which is why, like, because I used to get a lot more involved with RWBY things, and, like, even though, like, I wouldn't really make content on it, like, I personally would seek out other creators and other reactions and, like, just wanting to see how people thought about things. And it's cool, but I'm literally at the point where, like, you know what, I know how I feel about this. I don't really care how other people feel right now, because, like, I'm at that point where I'm comfortable with knowing how I feel about it, and I don't want someone else telling me what I should and shouldn't feel, or how I should and shouldn't react. That's the one thing that really pissed me off about, like, the reactions were great. I love doing the reactions, and, like, yeah, even when we got shit wrong, like, Jordan's ancestor, like, haha, we're wrong. Yeah, no, fair enough. Point us out for being wrong.
Yeah.
Laugh at us, but, like, just fucking people saying, like, you shouldn't laugh at that. Like, how about fuck you? Like, how about get fucked?
Geez.
Like, this even reminds me kind of the first video we ever did together, the Pokemon fucking ranked, the movies ranked thing. I remember looking at some of the comments on that. It's like, why did you swear? You shouldn't swear. Like, fuck off, you child. Like, it's literally how I feel sometimes. Just like, you're a kid. Go away. Like, just come on. Like,
you are a child.
Like, even if you're a grown adult saying these things, you have the mental capacity of a child at this point. Like, come on.
Man, that video is a banger.
that video is a banger. Anyway, I think, unless something else comes to me later, I think that's everything regarding controversies and all that I can think of. So, let's proceed to talking about Volume 9, shall we?
Yes.
Been a long build-up into this point. I can't think of anything else that's controversial or whatever. I'll try and add chapters to this episode so we can get into things properly. But yeah, Volume 9. Give me some of your thoughts. How did you feel about the volume?
So, I do like you mentioned, it's maybe a bit late, but I do like the focus on, like, Team RWBY, and I do think the pacing throughout of, like, RWBY slowly sinking in and giving into that, like, I guess you'd call it depression. I'd almost just call it more like I don't know if a good alternate word for it, but, like, you know, like, her despair maybe is a better word, but, like,
yeah,
that hopelessness, like, just, I like the pacing of her slowly sinking into that, and then, like, even when she's at her lowest point, like, she's fucking blown up at her friends, and then she goes off and, like, she sees all these horrible flashbacks that are just fucking thrown in her face, like, all rubbing it in that she can't do what she needs to do. And then, like, we did mention in the very last reaction video, but, like, I do wish that whole, like, the completion of that arc, that rounding out of her, like, finally becoming confident again, I wish that had been done just a tad bit better, or at least been a little more fleshed out. But I do like the pacing of it all. Like, I think she started out, like, just, you know, questioning herself, like, what's the point of all this, slowly but surely sinking into that despair, and then coming out of it by the end. That's a very nice little circle there. So that was good. I really like that. Even some of the you know, maybe the developments that ended up throwing Blake and Yang into the situation and where they confessed their feelings to each other was a bit forced and contrived, but even stuff like that I think had, like, at least some amount of charm to it, because it was just wacky. Like, the whole Ever After is just wacky. And I think one thing I hadn't even thought about until you mentioned it, like, they had to create that world from the ground up, basically. Like, they had a lot of assets from before, but everything for the Ever After they had to create from the ground up, basically. And I think it looks really impressive. Like, there's a lot of distinctiveness to the world about it, and, like, it just looks... Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really cool colors, and the landscapes are cool. I really like how the Ever After looks. I think it's really cool. And it's just there's a lot to be said into the effort that went into that into the area design and all that. I do think the shit with the cat is a bit weird. I don't really understand fully, like, what the cat was trying to do aside from get to Remnant. But I don't really know why he wanted to go there. It just feels like
the only reason I can think of is that Alex promised that she would take him there, and
yeah,
but his reason for wanting to leave the Ever After is still, like, I was kind of vague on that. Like, so why do you want to leave? Are you bored of this world, or what's going on there? Why do you actually want to leave? find a purpose elsewhere.
It was a bit weird. Like the cat's just involvement, even just from the very beginning, was just very weird. Like I know he was supposed to be a weird kind of middle ground gray area character from the very beginning, but it was I don't know, something about just like it almost felt like he wasn't really even there. Like I don't know, I can't even describe how I feel about the cat. Almost, it's just like I don't know. I almost feel like the guy was tripping balls. You know, like maybe he was there and maybe he wasn't. Like, because like even his involvement in the overall story is just very like, it's almost just like the gentle touch of an angel, you know, because it may or may not have even been there in the first place. So like, it's just like something that you may or may not have felt, like a sixth sense. The only thing I think he really did was just fight towards the end and end up forcing Neo into like that to the point where she was just like, all right, I'm good, and she gets treed.
I love that phrasing, by the way. I love that guess what? They got treed.
You got treed, bitch.
Get treed, bitch.
But yeah, it just seems like he was kind of he felt like the weirdest part of Volume 9 by a long shot. Like even through all the wacky shit that the Ever After pulled, like the cat was by far the weirdest fucking thing about it. Because like I almost feel like he wasn't even there, even though his involvement was so like significant, or at least I feel like it was supposed to be. But it almost just like what did he even do? Like I can't even remember. Like, he did help a couple times, but, like, then he, like, was bad, and then he, like, gave a lot of exposition, and then he turned good, and then he was bad, really bad, and went ultra nightmare mode or whatever. And, like, yeah, it's just weird. The cat, I don't really get. But everything else I thought was good. I enjoyed it, at the very least. But just, like, even the cat, like, you know, he there's some goofy stuff about him, and I enjoyed making fun of him because he has the same voice actor as Akechi, but, I mean, that's really it. Like,
I remember another frequent thing you kept saying is like, wow, this person's useless. Like, the mouse, the cat, you kept saying they're useless.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like that. I was like, oh, the cat's not useless, he got him to this point. No, he's not useless. It's like, Again, guys, shut up. He's joking.
Yeah, right. Shut up. Like, so just be like, it's just like a joke. You know, like, it's a joke. When someone just like, oh, so they couldn't do one thing, I'm like, oh, you're fucking useless. Like,
nah, you're too obnoxious. They can't tell the difference.
No. That's true. It's because I say everything so loudly.
Yeah, true.
So
it doesn't help that I accidentally made your audio way too loud compared to my own. So who knows?
But yeah, like it's just like if they, you know, I feel like I probably shouldn't have to explain this.
No, I know. See, that's the thing. Don't. I reckon like we're gonna do the exact same shit for the Volume 10 reactions if there is a Volume 10, and they can fucking deal with it. All right. I want to be more obnoxious. Like, the one thing, like, I completely agree with the fact that, hey, yeah, we got facts wrong because we didn't hear every sentence and we misunderstood things. Yeah, completely, 100% we were wrong. But fuck, take a joke. We don't make fun of depressed people. We don't make fun of stupid people. It's all a joke. Fuck yeah. Oh,
it's literally a cartoon.
I know, it's literally a cartoon. That was one thing. This is funny as, actually, even my mother noticed, like, holy shit, like, she I think she noticed when I uploaded the Prime video. I think it just popped up in her fucking, like, because she doesn't actually have a proper YouTube account. She has a recommended thing on the YouTube TV. And I think because they watched my audiobook when that was coming out, they occasionally get my videos on the subscription feed. She saw the Prime one, and then I think she saw one of the RWBY ones. Was like, actually, wow, the videos on the cartoons are actually getting really good, like, popular. And I'm like, I know the views are really high, but like and then I kind of explained like the whole, some of the fandom's a bit weird because like they are like they don't like the fact we're joking about someone and right now they're in a kind of depressive state, so they think we're making fun of depressed people. This is like, and she literally just deadpan looked at me. She's like, "It's a cartoon." I'm like, I know it's a cartoon, Mom. Just some people really care about this cartoon, like way too much.
Thank you, Trent's mom, for backing me up.
yeah, it's just fucking insight right there. God damn. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Volume 9. What was that?
No, I said that's awesome.
yeah, I know. Fuck yeah, Mum. But yeah, my thoughts on Volume 9 is like it's compared to all the previous volumes, I felt like I got a little bit of a kind of a hot take, but like, you know how people didn't really care about, or like, Volume 4 was really good, but the fights were kind of minimized a little bit for the story, and then Volume 5 was just boring, whereas like a lot of it was plot driven and not a lot of it was fight driven. I feel like we kind of stepped back into there because they made all these assets and made this entire new part of the world, and we needed to make development happen for the main characters. Like, Weiss was probably the one that got the least development, but she's had a lot of development throughout the rest of the series. So, like, she knows who she is. Like, the whole
she's good
self-reflection thing, looking into yourself, like, looking into your past self and, like, being offered the chance to go back. And all of them except Ruby were like, no, fuck you, I know who I am. Like,
Weiss got the least amount of development, but she also had the most amount of things come back and hit her.
Yeah, exactly. So she was just so resistant to the world, and it was funny. I loved it. But, like, because Blake and Yang, they were...
I feel bad for saying like, it was cute to see Weiss fall on her face, but it was.
It was pretty goofy. It was pretty funny.
It was cute. Like, I like it.
Yeah. Like, that slapstick was definitely needed. And, like, that's another thing. I know a lot of people don't like the such dramatic tone shifts that RWBY is known for, like jumping between some serious conversations and then throw in a bit of a funny moment. Like, I know a lot of people don't like that, but I mean, I don't care about it.
They've never seen Fairy Tail.
No, clearly not. But like, Blake and Yang needed the development to get to this. Like, I guess they didn't really need it because things were kind of progressing anyway. Sure, it was slow, and sure, they had to be thrown into, like, a literal, like, what was it, thunderstorm, like, a literal situation where,
yeah, true.
Hey, you are forced to admit your feelings to get out of this situation. Like, yeah, it's a little bit contrived, admittedly, but, like, I feel like, sure, they just go for it. It's got to get to this point. Let it happen. And, like, I was fine with it. I thought the dialogue and everything made sense. It was cute. Like, a little bit cringe at points as well, but it happened.
What can you do?
Yeah. It's been speculated for a while, and they've been acting more couple-ish in the past 3 volumes. Like, definitely. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't get up until Volume 3... Like, when Yang and, like, literally, until Yang and Blake confronted Adam in Volume 3 and Yang got her arm cut off, I didn't really see it. Like, in Volumes 1, 2, and 3, I didn't really see it. Like, I saw them being friends and helping each other out, like, Yang and helping Blake get over her, like, thing of wanting to go after the White Fang, and then, like, RWBY and Weiss had their own thing, and RWBY and Yang had a thing, and, like, Blake and RWBY didn't really talk, but that's fine. Like, so I saw them interacting and, like, oh, yeah, friends, see. But from there, it just kind of spawned that, like, yeah, they should be a couple. Like, what? I haven't seen any of that. Like, I haven't seen any of the relationship hints that everyone else is seeing, but, okay, sure, if that happens. And that's why, like, so many people think the fandom is what pushed for Bumblebee to happen, which could very well be the case. I don't
Right.
know if it has been a plan since Volume 1. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because all I know is that there was an interview once with Monty. I forgot who was with, what the clip was, but it was like an interview with Monty where they said, are there going to be homosexual relationships in RWBY or something like that? And he said, look, these characters are still young. They're still figuring out who they are and what they like. So they may be straight now, they might be gay later, we don't know. They're still growing and still developing and figuring themselves out. That's basically what Monty said. I was like, that's very appropriate. They could later go on to do that. That's fine. But I never saw it until it was already being, like, pushed into fandom, and then in, like, volume 6, 7, they actually started interacting like that, and I thought, okay, I see it now, but, like, that's not what sparked it. That's why I was a bit confused, but you know what? It's fine. I'm happy they're together finally. It's set in stone, and we don't have to speculate anymore. And the music was nice, too. Like, everything about it was nice.
It was good.
But this was definitely based around RWBY, because, like, the whole thing with everything up until this point about Ruby Rose is that she doesn't have a mother. She has a scythe like her uncle in the Grim Reaper and a mother. She has a sister. She is hesitant about being the leader. She's the youngest. And she has silver eyes. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know, but she's there. And then she watches Pyrrha die. She watches Penny die. She gets really upset. Yes, cool. And then not a lot happens. She gives a pep talk to Oscar once. She is cool in fights. She is a bit immature at times. Okay. Then eventually she learns about Silver Eyes from Maria. Eventually she learns how to use it. Cool. What else? Wow. And it's like, they're all very small jumps. Apart from the Silver Eyes thing, I guess. They're all like... And watching characters die as well, I guess that's not classified as a small jump, but, like, the reaction to it was definitely felt more by other people, other characters. So, RWBY was definitely the least developed, and I understand why they needed this development. Like, then I reckon, literally, while writing these volumes, they got in a room, and they said, you know, shit, if I was a real person and I have been dealing with everything RWBY has been dealing with, I would probably have a bigger fucking reaction to that. She's watched 2 people die, she's, like, failed in so many regards, and she's succeeded at a few things too, but she's got, like, this is a lot of things to handle as a teenager. Like, fuck. So I reckon they got together, saw that, and thought, we should probably, like, give her some development, because I would feel fucked after going through all that. So that's what they did. They gave her, like, this arc of her, like, especially in the first few episodes, she was just kind of, like, offhandedly, like, we're still together, but guys, like, fuck, man, we've done a lot, and I can't fucking handle this right now. And now we're in this new world. Let's just go with it. Let's stop pretending we know what's going on, because clearly we don't. And everyone else is like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. And then eventually she gets to the boiling point of like, hey guys, can I say something? And then she gets interrupted, and she just, like, hasn't had a chance to fully express herself since all this has happened. Like, the last time that I can recall that she had, like, a big talk about the way she felt about things was to Oscar in, like, Volume 5. Like, when Oscar had his little outburst of, like, how do you deal with all this? How do you, like, stand up and be happy all the time with this? And then she said, I'm not happy all the time. I had to watch Pyrrha and Penny die. And, like, she actually got to talk about it a bit. And everyone was like, finally, she's talking about it. But that was, like, the last time she properly expressed her emotions.
Yeah.
And so this was something definitely needed. And this is one of the better volumes, like, dialogue-wise. Like, it was written very well. Mm-hmm. Very lackluster when it came to fights. Honestly, the chessboard fight is still probably the best fight there. Like, I thought the fight with the cat was going to go fucking bonzo, but then a lot of it was just jumping into him and getting thrown away. Like, it was, a lot of it wasn't really that impressive, but like, even as visually stunning as the whole flashback and then muted colors thing is, like, it was a very quick fight in the last episode. Like, fuck all happened before Ruby got there, and then when Ruby got there, they just fucking dunked. They dunked on the cat's ass, and then it was over. Like, feel like they could have put a bit more into it, because that's the one thing, especially with the change with Monty. Like, with Monty's fights were quick. They were quick, but there was so much happening at once that, like, you had to kind of fully focus and fully pay attention to catch everything that happened. Like, Monty's fights are fights you replay because you may have missed something and you need to check it. Yeah. Literally, most fights since then have been slower, and if you miss one or two things, it's not a big deal. But they happen that fast that you almost like, oh wait, a fight just happened? What? Okay. Well, and like some of the fights really stand out, really cool. But most of the fights to me are like, oh wait, something just happened. Right.
I see.
But, yeah, like the chessboard fight to me was the most impressive. The cat fight, literally up until the ending, I was just like, okay. Like, Ruby coming in, I paid attention to what Ruby did. And then they, like, crisscrossed
Quadruple slam!
Yeah, and then they crisscrossed applesauce, and then they all kicked ass with the fucking time dilation, like, hundreds of glyphs everywhere. Like, that was cool. But, like, I feel like the fights... Like, but that's one thing. We talked about this during the reactions. Because this volume was so heavily based on development for RWBY, and because we got, like, the final conflict with Salem and that happening soon, we feel like the fights are going to be like, the big climactic epic fights are going to be reserved for the next volume or two, depending on what's left.
I think in volume 10 is going to be just like all fights, especially like after episode 1. Like, at episode 1, they're going to be like, alright, what's the sitch? And they're going to explain it for a bit, and then they're just, after that, it's going to be bam, fighting all the time. Pretty much. Yeah. Until the end.
Because, like, you ever notice, like, especially in Volume 7, they were egregious for this. They were like, yo, Mantle needs help. We need to go help them out. There's Grim everywhere. And then they cut to one scene, and then we cut back, and the gang has just finished kicking a whole bunch of Grim ass. It's like, oh, so we missed the fight. They just finished it. Okay.
What the H?
Like, that happened way too much for my liking. So, like, oh, they just finished the fight. Yeah. We didn't get to watch the fight. Whatever. But, but Volume 9 itself was a spectacle. The three main outcomes in my, there's a few main talking points that Volume 9 gave us. Like, Ruby's development and self-realization, realizing, yep, she's enough. And it's a good message for anyone watching that sometimes you are enough, even if you don't feel like it. Like, you are enough. Blake and Yang finally together, wonderful. We learnt more about the lore and the backstory about fucking Remnant as a whole. It turns out before the brothers was the Ever After, and the Ever After is what birthed the brothers that went on to develop Remnant and presumably many other worlds. So the fact that the Ever After is kind of like the origin of the world, because I remember when the trailer for Volume 9 dropped, then like everyone saw that giant tree, they were like, oh wait, that could be like reminiscent of the world tree, like the tree that started everything. And it's like, well, they weren't wrong. It's actually kind of true. So yeah, that's sick. And the other thing, Neo's story arc has concluded, unless she instantly gets reborn and jumps in one of the last few volumes, which I don't think is going to happen. I think this is a wrap for the character of Neo. Yeah, which is fine. I
could see her being reborn and jumping in. Like, it could be she switches sides after this, but it would be like it might be a while before. I think it would be a long time. Like, it would be more towards, like, the final battle when she would actually come back, if she does at all. But I could see it.
I feel like if the intention was to make her good and make her switch sides, I feel like they would have done it by now. I feel like that would have been the conclusion of Volume 10, because, admittedly, yeah, a lot of people saying, like, dude, she straight up murdered people. Like, why, like, Emerald at least was hesitant about the fall of Beacon, was hesitant about all this shit. Neo's never shown hesitation and just straight up killed a fuck ton of people. Like, this isn't the...
Yeah.
This is just because she looks cute isn't cause enough for her to switch sides, which I agree.
Well, that's what I think the role of the tree is, right? Like, because, like, when Little's dumbass came back, he didn't have any of his memories. But, like, if Neo gets reborn, then she wouldn't have her memories either, theoretically. So, like, she would come back, but, like, maybe, you know, Little had, like, some instinct about RWBY. So, like, what if Neo had, like, some instinct that was like, hey, I should beat the hell out of Salem. And so she, like, comes back and, like, does that. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass at this point, but I could see something like that happening.
See, I could, but
I feel like just given what we saw with RWBY in the tree, I almost feel like her just be doing the same thing that RWBY did when RWBY eventually got reborn. I almost feel like it's just too, what's the fucking word? Like, it's like too vague of an ending, you know? Like, because she could be reborn or she could not be. Like, it could be either one. And, like, even if she does get reborn, like, maybe she'll stay in the Ever After. And, like, I definitely think we would see a cameo, like, of her being reborn. Like, say she stays in the Ever After. Like, we would see her reborn character in the Ever After make, like, a cameo towards the very end. I would absolutely see that. But, like, either way, like, I think she will be, like, reborn. And whether or not she plays an active role in the rest of the story is, like, it's take it or leave it, you know? I don't really know, but
yeah,
I could see it either way.
I feel like this was... well, look, I get all of that. I get the idea, like, especially because of how popular she is. I could easily see them being like, let's bring her back for one last fight. Let's get her in there. But I feel like with everything they showed, with her being, like, still obsessed with Roman, even, like, creating this version of Roman with her powers that have upgraded, and, like, really showing that, like, because even throughout the entire book, Roman Holiday, and then throughout the show, like, quite literally, her one reason for being was Roman. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he got taken away so quickly, and then they realized, oh wait, she's still alive technically, and the fans really want to know what's going on with her. We'll bring her back for a little revenge arc. We'll see what happens. So I feel like her being left in the Ever After is kind of where it's going to go. They, again, like, I can't exactly be sure, because the cat kept saying that the tree, like, the Afterans are the only ones that get reborn properly by the tree. So people from Remnant don't. Which is, like, RWBY popped out, she was the same, but, like, it's kind of vague, because if that was the case, she still went into the tree. So, what do you mean? Like, will she be reborn, won't she?
Yeah.
Like, it's all very vague, but I feel
it's up
like...
in the air.
I feel like, because from the rules established, we know she'll either come back the same as she is, or she'll be reborn and lose her memories. We don't know if that also, like, resets her semblance. Maybe she'll keep the semblance. So, in my mind, either way, I feel like she's destined to stay in the Ever After. Somewhere where she, like, can help now, or, like, just guide the world, because her and her powers are very fucking strong. And I saw a lot of people theorizing about how the brothers made the cat and the Jabberwocker, one to help in, like, bolster life, and one to destroy when it became too much. And now both the Jabberwocker and the cat are gone, so things will start to go out of balance in the ever after. So a lot of people were saying maybe that's where Neo comes in and helps continue things going. Because they made a good point. If she is reborn and has her memories and everything still intact, she literally has nothing to go back to in Remnant. Literally nothing. Even if she did decide, you know what, fuck, I want to help fight Salem, like, that would be a big leap. Whereas she could stay in the ever after and be a part of that world, which almost feels like that is perfect. Or, yeah, be reborn, come back out, and start a new life in a Remnant. And that's why I like the idea of, like, the final shot across the world. We see all the characters we love up until this point. And then there's just a random girl who looks completely different, but then her eyes change color, signifying, hey, that's the new Neo. I would just love something as simple as that, because that would be... Like, that honestly feels like what could happen. Or we could just cut back to the ever after and she's still being treed. Who knows?
Yep.
So, yeah,
that's... She hasn't been untreed.
Yeah. That's kind of my thoughts of Volume 9. It was very nice. I appreciate a lot of what was going on. And also someone else made the point of, hey, Jorn's had, 40 years of experience of, like, wisdom and age, and, like, probably fighting a lot as well in the ever after. Like, he became the Rusted Knight, for goodness sake. And now that he's been, like, his age has been reversed and he's back to his original age, he's probably going to be strong as fuck now. He's probably going to be like an OP powerhouse, which would be sick. Like, that'd be great. That would be nice. I Jorn's development as well. Finally,
there is definitely something to say about John in Volume 9. I mean, Jesus Christ. That man went through some shit.
He did. Like, a lot of people, I know a lot of people don't like John. I know, I get it, but I really do like John, and he's had moments like throughout each. I want to say every third volume, or like I feel like it's every third volume, something like that. He's been given something to help develop his character. Like originally, it was lying about his transcripts getting into school. Then it was losing Pyrrha. And then it just kind of stuck with that for a while. And then it was like him trying to keep his team together and trying to help everyone. And then like not wanting to lose anyone else. Unlocking his semblance. Like he's had different arcs to give him good development throughout the show. Which is honestly something like that's what RWBY needed. Needed like little arcs like that. But she kind of didn't. And like Jorn's development's been great. And now... him going from, like, barely being able to swing a sword to having, like, 40 years fucking experience, returning, like, semblance unlocked, returning with all the strength, knowledge, and wisdom, and having it. And I love the fact that you get a bit of the white in his hair. That was sick. Nice. Very good. And now he's probably going to be fucking strong. And it's like, good on you, John. Like, that man has been through a lot. He deserves this.
He does. He's a good boy. I like John.
Yeah.
I know. I get he was kind of annoying in the first bit, but like he's such a nice boy. Come on now.
I hope him and Weiss end up together. I think that would be nice.
That'd be cute.
Like as much as people ship, what is it called, White Rose? That's Ruby and Weiss. Like, I feel like people easily jump from friendship to relationship. Like, I see that shit happen way too often. And, like, even if it's just some sort of mini headcanon thing, I hate another thing. Back in the the Bumblebee episode, Blake and Dan got together. Like, just someone screeching, like, oh my god, I'm crying, my babies, I love them so much, oh my god. Like, that I hate that sort of reaction to thing. They're not your fucking babies. I know you, like, shut the fuck up. Like, you've been wanting this to happen for years. I get it, but just settle down. calm the fuck down. That sort of reaction makes me cringe. Like, that's just
my
me.
children.
But, oh my god, my babies! Oh, like, shut up. But like, I don't like. I see definitely Ruby and Weiss friends. I don't see them as a couple, but like the hints and the like the playing up with Jean and Weiss, like even the little things they've had. Like, from, like, the Jean crushing on Weiss at Volume 1, and then, like, going from that to Weiss in Volume 9, like, kind of, like, flirting with him, like, oh, when did you get so mature? Like, and then, like, reacting like, oh, shit. Even those little things have seemed more like relationship tension more than anything Weiss and Ruby have ever done. And I know some people are probably going to say, oh, that's because you're straight. You can only see that. Like, I mean, I saw the tension between Blake and Yang from Volume 6 onwards. I didn't see it prior to that, because I feel like it wasn't canon prior to that. But then when they decided to do it, I saw the flirtiness between them rise. Like, it made sense. Maybe I need to be slapped in the face with relationship shit more often. I don't know, but like that is something like a relationship I saw budding and growing. This is one where I feel like they could probably do something at the very end. Like,
yeah, I definitely don't see Ruby and Weiss as being a couple, especially not in the same way that Blake and Yang are. Although I don't, I mean, I'm honestly like I think I would be okay with John and Weiss being a thing. I think they would be cute, but like I honestly almost think they would be better as just like kind of like, it almost seems like a more of like a friends kind of thing, maybe like a like best pals sort of thing. I don't know, like just something, because like the way Weiss would be like kind of teasing him, it is cute, and I do see the relationship aspect of it, but like it almost feels like it would be like kind of John, because John started crushing on her, and then like she's kind of like, wow, you're kind of handsome now that you're 40 or whatever. It almost feels like that's kind of like they since John has kind of like gotten over that crush, I feel like they would almost just be like, because I don't feel like John should have to like go back to like crushing on her again. That almost feels weird. But like
I don't think that at all. No, I don't think they should go back to that. I think like at the conclusion of the show, they could just, I don't know, something could happen. But yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter either way. I don't. Yeah, it's because like the shipping, like I do like Blake and Yang. I do like them, but like as a couple. But the shipping's not the reason I watch RWBY at all. So, it's like the fans can say whatever they want, you know, like they can make whatever ships they want, post it all over fanfiction and Wattpad. Fucking love that place. But yeah, it's just like I just watch it because it's fun. Like I don't care who kisses who. I don't give a dunk. Who fucking cares?
Yeah. Nah, fair enough. Nah, I get it. I mean, like, if nothing happens, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. If something happens, great. Even if somehow Ruby and Weiss end up together, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
good for them.
Like personally, right now, I don't think that'll work. But then if it happens, oh, okay, cool. Like, there's a vacuum cleaner outside my room. I'm going to try and edit that out. That's fine. But yeah, so yeah, in regards to all the other volumes, I don't know how I would compare it. It's up there for development's sake, like for the development of characters, and like being completely different, like it's a big tonal shift, you're right, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. I'm still actually like, I honestly feel like Volume 7 was kind of my favorite one.
I would need to rewatch it all again. I don't really know.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I lied. Probably Volume 3. Volume 3 had more impact than most of the show. It was like, I'd say like volume 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 4, not 5, and then where would I put 9? Because I don't know. I've watched the series over a few times. I think 3, 7, 9, 2, 6, 1, 4, 5. Where would 8 go? Did I say 8? I don't remember.
I don't know.
8 would probably go after volume 9. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, but like, it's up there, but not one of my favorites. I miss the epic fights. That's just one thing. Like, when I come to RWBY, I expect some story and some epic fights. That's what I'm mostly here for. I know this time around was mostly story, and that's fair enough. But yeah, I like the fights.
I miss Nora and Ren.
Miss what?
I miss Nora and Ren.
Oh, true.
I like them. You know what? I take it back. I do like shipping. I like those two. They're very cute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're very cute. From the beginning.
Yeah.
And I hope they figure out their stuff. And they are happy.
Ren's too serious. But it's fine. They're very cute. I like them anyway.
So, in regards to that, is there much else to talk about when it comes to RWBY? What do you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
I don't know. Because I feel like I mentioned everything. Like, one thing with like shows that and even shows in my manga that I really like I just enjoy watching the characters just have fun, do whatever, fight sometimes. Like, it's just I'm just along for the ride. Like, you said it a million times this episode. Like, it's not my story to tell. Like, but if I get attached to the characters, then I don't care. Like, I'm usually never going to give a crap what the story actually does, as long as I can see the characters that I like. So
yeah, I like that.
That's where I'm at. So like, there's a bunch of manga and shows that like that for me right now, and RWBY is absolutely one of them. Like, I just like seeing the characters because I wouldn't I'm not attached in the same way that like a lot of the RWBY fandom is attached. It's just like, I just really adore these characters. Like, they're just very fun to watch, and I feel the same about a lot of different manga and anime. So it's just it's up there for me, and I just enjoy watching the characters do whatever. So even like I think it was volume 5 the one where they were all separated doing whatever. It
was volume 4 and volume 5. They started getting back together. By the end of it, they were back together.
Yeah, even the boring ones.
Mostly volume 4, they were separate.
Yeah, even the boring ones I actually liked. Like, it was fun. Like, maybe there's something to be said about like the slow pacing of everything, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy myself. Like, I don't know. I'm just having a good time. Yeah. It's fine. Like, the fans can say whatever they want. They can call me obnoxious. That's funny. But like, I can I just I don't know what. I guess I'm at the point where like I don't fucking care what anyone else thinks. I'm just gonna enjoy it how I want to, and that's what I'm doing. And that's one of the reasons I don't like I just enjoy things the way I want to, and I don't ever feel like I need to push my own thoughts and feelings onto other people too much, which is kind of the reason why there are a lot of things when I read manga or watch shows that kind of catch my attention that I really like, but even like I only ever actually taught like probably half of those or less than half of those moments I even ever like post on my Twitter or anything like that. Like, very rarely do I actually post something that like gets my attention, like actually talk about it in a public space, because like I don't need to push any of like my thoughts or feelings on anybody else. Like, I don't want to crowd my like people who follow me, their timeline with a bunch of random shit that doesn't matter. You know, like if you don't read One Piece, then like you're not gonna fucking get it anyway. But like, it's RWBY is one of those things for me where I'm just in my own space. I can do whatever. I just enjoy it, and I don't really necessarily feel the need to share that with anybody. Like I do enjoy sharing that with people, but like I don't necessarily feel like I need to, you know, because I feel like a lot of the RWBY fandom is like so desperate to share their thoughts and feelings with other people and make other people accept them. And here I am to say you don't need to do that.
Yeah, true.
It's just enjoy it. You like, I don't know, if you can't enjoy something on your own, then like, do you even like really enjoy it? Because like, I don't know. I don't know the thought process exactly, but like, you know,
if you can, if you can only enjoy something with the company of others, are you really enjoying it?
Yeah,
like,
like just
really, like if you're enjoying something purely for the attention it gives you, like, why do you think I've been enjoying RWBY since 2015? Why do you think I've only started doing reactions now? It's because I want to make more content about it. But I've enjoyed it long before I decided to make stuff about it, and if I decide next time I'm not going to do reactions, people were shit, I'm going to still enjoy it. Like
absolutely.
I'm not gonna let the fandom kick me out like a lot of fucking previous YouTubers or whatever. Like I'm here for it. I like it.
Exactly. I'm on the fucking train. Choo choo. Chugga chugga.
Like RWBY is one of those things. Like I think I mentioned this before. Like there's only really a few, like I want to say brands, IPs. I don't know how to establish it. It's like I try doing it on my YouTube. By actually making the playlists. Just the things I wholly enjoy and want to talk about. Like that's right. I've literally got a playlist like section when you go on my channel. It says check these out. They like check out these videos or whatever because like I don't know how to label it. It's the few things that I love more than anything and want to keep making and talk about. RWBY is one of them. Tekken is another one because it's another thing I've grown up with and I love wholeheartedly. Team Salvato or like anything made by Down Salvato because of the impact that Doki Doki Literature Club had on me. So I am a big fan of his work. You can also put like Skyrim and Gears of War into that category. They're things I've enjoyed for a long, long time. I haven't made anything on Gears of War. I've made one Let's Play, Trent Plays thing. And like I want to read the books about Gears of War. Like it's just one of those things I love wholeheartedly. And Skyrim, I know basically everything about now. Like I'll play it every so often. I'll read stuff about it. It's no problem. Deltarune is another one, not Undertale, but Deltarune. Like before Chapter 3 and 4 comes out, I need to do like a complete pacifist playthrough so I can continue that because I just really like it. And even to an extent, you can throw things like FNAF or Zelda into that. They're just things I enjoy, but because especially as of late, when it comes to things like anime, there's only really a few that I truly give a shit about. Like, I've watched all of Rosario Vampire. I have the manga of it because I really like it. I like and love Demon Slayer, even though I haven't started watching season 3 yet. I love Jujutsu Kaisen, and like, I'm not like I don't have that many things as a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people love like 50, 100, fucking tons of shows and games and stuff. But I am very selective with what I enjoy. And in that bubble of things that I always pay attention to, RWBY is one of them. So no matter what happens, if I stop making videos tomorrow or if I like just fall off the internet completely, whatever happens, I'll find a way to tune into RWBY because it's just one of those things I wholeheartedly love. So everything we're saying comes from a place of enjoyment and love. Like as much as I don't like aspects of the fandom or whatever, as I've been very explicit in saying today, I do love the show. So, yeah. It's just one of those things. So, yeah, I think that's all we've got to cover.
Oh, fuck.
Thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to FireStorm. We appreciate it. We're doing Let's Plays, we do podcasts, we do a lot of things. We have our own channels, as you should know. As it would be very fucking obvious at this point. Let's we'll do the spiel. You have anything else to say before we do the end spiel?
Oh, right, the spiel. No, I don't think so. Yeah, this is like, because I was thinking, like, even when I review stuff otherwise, like for like on the anime review channel that I do every like month, like maybe sometimes, like RWBY is one of those things that's like, hey, I just enjoy it. Like, I don't feel like I need to sit here and like talk too much about it, because I feel like I'm just gonna like gush, because I'm just like, I just love it. I'm just so happy and I get to watch it. It's so fun. Like, I feel that way about a lot of things, and RWBY is definitely one of them. So like, even when I'm reviewing stuff like on that anime channel, I'm just like, do I think that people could get invested in this? That's basically my talking point. Is like, that's the main thing I want to think about. Like, do I think other people would enjoy this the same way that I did, or maybe I didn't? And I do genuinely think that if you're open to it, RWBY is one of those things that you can absolutely get attached to, because I sure fucking did. So like, that's, you know, and I've like, you know, I've kind of put the damper on some podcast ideas, because like, I've read the manga for Demon Slayer. I've read the manga for Jujutsu Kaisen. And if we did reviews of those, I'd probably just sit there gushing about it. It's like, oh, but this thing leads into this thing that's coming up after in the next season. It's going to be so good, and I love it so much. Like, that would just be me the entire time. And that's not good content. So it's like, and I think like RWBY is one of those things. Like, I think there was enough interesting things that happened in this most recent volume to warrant this video. But like, you know, when you boil down my points from here, it's just like, yeah, I like it and I enjoy watching it. There you go. Like, that's it. So I don't know, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Cheers, bitches.
Ligma. Balls. Yeah.
Ligma balls.
Yeah, nah, fair enough. Also, 2 other things. I haven't finished Ice Queendom. It looks really cool. I intend to finish it soon, but I just haven't been bothered finishing it. It's just one of those things. I'll get to it eventually. And also, we will be watching the RWBY Justice League Part 1 movie, and probably doing something on my channel for it. We'll see. Oh, yeah. We need to actually watch it first, because I think it's out literally for me today, probably for you tomorrow at the time of recording, Gus.
Really?
So, yeah, it's coming out, like, promptly. So we're going to watch that. We might do, not a whole reaction thing on my channel, but, like, probably talk about it a little bit, and then intercut that with some reactions to things. We'll see. Or I might not make anything. We'll see.
Who knows?
Depends how we feel about the movie. But yeah.
It might suck fucking dick.
It might. It honestly might. It might suck complete balls. Because I'll be honest, I read the comic, and the comic sucked complete balls. So, who knows what's going to happen with the movie. But, yeah.
Hell yeah.
But it does look like they're approaching things differently with the movie. Like, they're doing timeline shenanigans and whatnot. So, it looks different. It looks good. So, yeah, that's all. Thank you all so much for listening, and we hope you subscribe to FireStorm. We are here, and we are on Twitter at FireStormPod, so long as Twitter exists, because that shit might blow up any day now. Yeah, thanks, Elon. You can also contact us. Oh, I feel like this is going to be a mistake telling the RWBY fandom to contact us. But we have an email at firestormproductions2@gmail.com. If you have any video or podcast ideas or let's play ideas, let us know in the comments down below or shoot us an email. That is optional.
Even if you just send us an email telling me I'm obnoxious, at least it'll be something.
Yeah, I was gonna say no flames, but then again, like, do what you want. It's your life, but take what we've said here and move forward with your life, people.
Yeah, do whatever speaks to you, whatever you feel like you must do.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Later, fuckers.